Hello everyone, welcome back to Pet Reviews, the series where I talk about whether or not certain animals suck to keep as pets. Today we're going to be talking about the Sonoran Gopher snake, but really this pet review can apply to any snake in the Pituophis genus, which includes both pine snakes, bull snakes, and gopher snakes. I just have access to a gopher snake, which is the only reason why I'm doing them over these species individually right now. So, let's get started. The first point I want to talk about with these gopher snakes is their housing. Their housing, as you can see, these are a very big snake comparatively to other colubrids like corn snakes and milk snakes. These guys are going to need quite a bit of space. You can keep them in a rack system, but I do not really recommend it. I like to see my snakes having a lot of room to move around and be able to do their thing, you know? So, I keep mine in a 60-gallon tank right now. And I will probably upgrade him to a 75-gallon soon, just so I can see him continue to do his own thing. He is about 6 feet long right now, which is pretty damn big. So as you can imagine, he needs quite a lot of room to be able to move around. And although these guys can climb, it is not required to give them climbing space. Although I do like having branches in his enclosures that he is able to climb on. But either way, that housing is not the cheapest. A 75-gallon tank could go well over $100. And the snake itself can be anywhere from $60 as a baby to over $200 for some of the better looking or more expensive morphs. I got him for under $200, but that's because I know the breeder who I got him from. He is captive bred and he is a very, very good snake. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is why these guys are so freaking awesome. First off, just look at this pattern. It goes from solid on the head to this big checkerboarding in the middle, then this really dark checkerboarding at the tail. God, these snakes are gorgeous. They have these really big, bulky heads compared to most other colubrids. They're really stumpy. I love them so much. They got this big, derpy look going. Plus, these guys are big. Who doesn't like holding a big snake? Big snakes are awesome. And they're not going to be able to hurt you like larger snakes like Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, and African rock pythons could potentially do. These guys are just about as harmless as you can get for a big snake. Plus, look how gentle this snake is. This is one of the kindest snakes I have ever seen, and the lizards are fighting. This snake is the most gentle snake that I own. He is a pure sweetheart, not head shy in the slightest. But not all gopher snakes are like this. A lot of gopher snakes, when you first get them, will be very defensive. They will perk up and hiss at you whenever you come into their enclosure, and it's going to be loud and kind of scary if you're not used to it. But they pose really no threat because they are all bark and no bite. This guy has never once hissed at me or lunged at me doing anything. And if you raise your gopher snake right, you'll have one just like this. So now, let's talk about some of the downsides of these guys. Like I said, the cost. These guys are big, so they're going to need a big enclosure. Also, the snake itself, while not the most expensive, can cost a couple $100 if you want the right one. And sadly, a lot of these guys are taken out of the wild to be in the pet trade, even though there's a ton already in the pet trade. And reasons like that is why you want to be able to know the people that you're getting these from. I would not recommend going to backwater reptiles and getting a gopher snake from them because it is most likely caught out of the wild. The same with underground reptiles. They're just not good companies. Especially with common species. It just sets the wrong precedent to get a wild caught one because that'll give them more reason to go out and keep catching these guys out of the wild. When it comes to feeding these guys, when they start out, they're going to start out around with pinky mice and hopper mice. Those are very small and relatively inexpensive, but when they get this big, they need to start eating rats. I feed him 1 medium rat every 2 weeks. That keeps him perfectly, he has the perfect weight right now, no excess fat, and he has as much energy as he needs. These guys are relatively lazy a lot of the time too, but those rats can get expensive over time, but it's still going to be much less expensive than feeding something like a dog, a cat, or a human. These guys are one of my favorite animals that I keep, just because of their demeanor, their look, and just their overall awesomeness. I would highly recommend these as a starter snake if you know what you're getting into, because they can get big. But overall, I would give these guys a 7.5 out of 10. Everything great about them is everything great about other colubrids, except they're big, they're pretty, and they are impressive. Honestly, I recommend these guys over corn snakes. Everybody and their brother has a corn snake, but who has a gopher snake? Come on! Gopher snakes are awesome. Give them a chance. I think that's going to do it for this pet review, so I'll see you guys in the next video.